Hello and welcome everyone. Today's video features the first Pan-American battleship to enter the game, the Atlantico. Now with update 11.3, the new dockyard event, and the Atlantico is the reward ship. The Atlantico is armed with 10 381mm main battery guns in 5 twin gun turrets and can only fire armor-piercing shells, but comes with very strong secondary armament. So as stated, this is going to be a dockyard ship. The construction process for the dockyard will comprise of 22 phases, 19 of which can be completed for free by completing in-game dockyard combat missions. These shipbuilding phases each cost 1,750 doubloons. So if you don't use any of the starter packs, so the cheapest price for attaining the Atlantico is 5,250 doubloons. And I must say, for this price, if you're willing to grind the missions, it is a bargain. So let me start before we go through a complete review guide of the Atlantico by putting up the ship build, and all the stats mentioned in this video from now on are based on this exact secondary build, as you can clearly see. Nothing really out of the ordinary. I am using Demolition Expert and Brisk for that extra bit of speed. I will add, you kind of do need at least a minimum of 14 points to start making this ship feel as effective as it potentially can be. But that's the only downside. I do assume we will be getting a 10-point captain with the ship when it lands in our port on completing the dockyard event. So that is the build. So here, using a simple port screenshot, let's take a look at the armor layout. Fore-end plating, quite solid, 32mm. Same at the stern, aft-end plating, 32mm. But what stands out here is the fore-end armor belt, two sections, 102mm and 152mm. The same at the stern, an aft-end armor belt in two sections, 102mm and 152. Very solid protection both fore and aft end. The upper casemate armor is a very solid 152mm, and the main deck, which is in two levels, gets solid protection of 51mm. The main casemate armor or armor belt is in three sections, 305mm, 356 and 280, which is well submerged. Now if you're already thinking this sounds pretty decent in terms of armor protection, as you can see here using a frontal view, you can see that the Atlantico also gets sloped internal armor for added protection. Now this is very nice indeed. So finally, armor wise, the superstructure plating is 19mm. The turrets themselves get a frontal plate of 305mm, top plating of 152, sloped side plating of 152, and the rear plating is also 152mm. So the turrets have very solid protection. This leads into the survivability. The Atlantico gets 60,100 hit points and a torpedo protection damage reduction of 31%. With this recommended build, even though you can see 5 repair parties here at the moment, but I have been swapping around during testing, alternating between fire prevention and emergency repair expert, and currently I've settled on fire prevention. It's totally up to each and every player to decide for themselves whether they want to go for the extra heal or not. So we come to the Atlantico's offensive armament, and the Atlantico really is a solid gun platform. When you take a closer look at the ship, it is literally bristling with gun emplacements. The main battery consists of 10 381mm guns in 5 twin mounted turrets, 2 fore, 1 centrally mounted and 2 at the stern. These guns have a 30-second reload. They can rotate 180 degrees in 30 seconds, and with this build they have a max dispersion of 246 meters with a max firing range of 18.6 kilometers, and they have a gun sigma of 1.8. Now these main battery guns, they only fire armor piercing shells. They have a max damage of 10,700 with a shell speed of 804 meters per second. So armor piercing only. Moving to the secondary armament, it comes in two flavors, 127mm and 234mm. Starting with the 127mm, 10 single mounted turrets. These have a 5.1 second reload. Fully maxed out for range, they have a max firing range of 11.3 kilometers. They can inflict a max damage of 1800 with high explosive shells, a 7% fire chance, 21mm of penetration, and a shell speed of 792 meters per second. The other gun caliber is really quite meaty, 234mm guns. Now these are similar to the guns you would find on the Royal Navy heavy cruiser, the Cheshire. So 234mm gun caliber, 16 234mm guns in total, in 8 twin mounted or dual mounted gun turrets, 4 mounted on each side. These have a reload time of 10.7 seconds. They can inflict a massive max damage of 3,850. They have a 24% fire chance. They can penetrate 59mm of armor and have a shell speed of 761 meters per second. Really quite meaty secondaries indeed. Now these secondaries, even with a full secondary build, they wouldn't have the same accuracy as say the German battlecruiser line of secondaries, but when in range these really do feel quite effective. The damage numbers are really quite impressive. So there are submarines all over the server. The Atlantico gets 3 attack flights, 1 aircraft per attack flight, dropping 2 bombs. These bombs can inflict a max damage of 2300. They do have a nice firing range of 10 kilometers and a reload time of 37 seconds. When it comes to AA defense, no shortage of AA mounts. 20 single mounted 20mm, 16 twin mounted 20mm, both Oerlikons, 12 twin mounted 40mm Bofors, 4 quad mounted 40mm Bofors, and these smaller gun caliber, the 127mm secondary guns, they also double up as AA. All combined, they pump out a continuous average damage of 306, the vast majority of which is kind of split between medium and short range, with a small amount of long range AA. On the plus side, it does fire 5 flak explosions in that long range zone. These can inflict 1400 max damage, and as stated, the max firing range is 5.8 kilometers. So moving to the Atlantico's maneuverability, and this I would say is its only weak point. The Atlantico gets a base speed of 25 knots. This can be increased to 26.3 knots with the Sierra Mike signal flag, and it's primarily the reason I'm running Brisk. With the Brisk you can add an additional 10% to your max speed when undetected, so you can get that base speed up to very close to 29 knots. The turning circle is 800 meters and it has a rudder shift time of 12 seconds. So finally, stats wise, the Atlantico has, with a full stealth build, a concealment rating of 11.5, which is very very close to your max secondary range of 11.3. So what this basically equates to, the moment an enemy is spotting you, they are already very close to your secondary range. The Atlantico can be detected both by submarines and aircraft at 9 kilometers. So this is the very first Pan-American battleship to enter the game, and I must admit, unlike the Marlborough, the previous dockyard ship, which I did feel a little bit disappointed with, the Atlantico can be a lot of fun. So I highly advise, if you have the time, to grind through these dockyard missions. For a minimum price, on completing 19 of the 22 phases for free, you can purchase this for 5,250 doubloons. And for this, I must admit, this ship feels like a real bargain. I've had a lot of fun playing this ship throughout testing. It has gone through the usual balancing phases, but I do believe it's still in quite a strong position. Previous iterations had Hydro, which made it feel a little bit overpowered, and the speed is the only thing that really holds it back from being a fantastic battleship. More speed on this Atlantico, and she would truly be very, very dangerous to deal with, but as is, a pretty fun battleship. So I hope you all enjoyed this review. If you'd like to see some live Atlantico gameplay, I stream regularly on Twitch. You can see the link here on screen. I look forward to seeing you all. I'd like to thank you once again all for watching. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe for more. Take a moment to check out some of my most recent videos and leave a comment below. And until the next time, keep sailing it like you stole it.